Radical.
Oh man, where do I begin? Last night was one of the craziest nights in the NBA playoffs, I would say, ever. The Kings and Warriors, I watched that game to the very end. That was a close one to the very end. The Warriors came out ahead, and I would say that unless the Kings just go crazy and have an amazing effort, I don't think they're beating the Warriors 2 times in a row. Specifically, I don't think they're beating them at home. But hey, anything can happen. That series could easily go 7 games. But I think the Warriors might finish it in Game 6. It would make a lot of sense because they seem insurmountable at home. Then you got the Lakers, who lost Game 5 to the Grizzlies. That was in Memphis. I didn't get to see that game, but I would take a guess that the Grizzlies are not going to beat the Lakers 2 more times in a row. But like I said, hey, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And specifically, I'm going to focus on the fact that something crazy did happen. My last Opolo was talking about Jimmy Butler just going off and being on fire. Well, the fire was not extinguished by the Bucks. It kept burning, it kept burning, it kept burning. Red hot, baby, red hot. Jimmy Butler is red hot. I would say he's the biggest underdog, and the Heat are the biggest underdog easily in these playoffs. They did something quite amazing in beating the Bucks. They got a almost sweep of the Bucks. Let's process this. 4-1. Granted, the Bucks didn't have Giannis for 2 of the games. Okay. And maybe he was not 100% in the last game, but still, it's an amazing upset. This has only been done 5 other times. This is the 6th time that an 8th seed has beat a number 1 seed. The Bucks, by far, were the betting favorite to beat the Heat. But in the first round, they're out of there. They're gone. They're gone. They're just like deers in the headlights. They probably have no idea what's going on. But the hunter was Jimmy Butler to these deers, to these Bucks, man. So there's a lot I could go into, but I'll focus on a couple things from the game. Do you remember years back when LeBron James had an amazing game for the Cavaliers? An amazing performance. But it was spoiled by J.R. Smith, stupidly thinking that they had the lead when the game was tied. And LeBron was saying to him, like, dude, do something. Shoot it. What the heck's going on? That's one of the most dumb moments for any NBA player. Well, things got dumber at the end of this game, which I'll get into in a moment. There's a lot of things here I could touch on about this game that just didn't make a lot of sense. For one, I'm reading here that the Bucks only had 3 made field goals in the entire 4th quarter. What the hell? Giannis was 10 for 23 from the free throw line. What the hell? Less than 50%? A lot of what the hell moments here. Butler was consistent. Butler was, like I said, on fire. And you can't make these mistakes when you have a Jimmy Butler on the other side of the court opposing you. You can't. Towards the end of the game, so you had a situation to where there was 2.5 seconds left, and they needed a bucket. The Heat were down by 2. Jimmy Butler and the coach drew up a play that worked perfectly. 2.5 seconds. You had Giannis guarding one of the Heat players who basically just had to get the ball to the hoop. Had to be a perfect pass, and it was a perfect pass. It's like a quarterback pass. It was just a gorgeous pass right to where it needed to be. The timing was just impeccable on everything here. On everything. And Giannis is not short, so he had to get it over Giannis's outstretched hands too, which was a degree of difficulty. So what happened is you had Butler basically running kind of circles, and he broke free of, I think it might have been Holiday, who was chasing him. The ball landed right in his hands. As he was fading and leaning back with a fadeaway, he banked that sucker in. It was a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. If I can find a video, I'll link to it at the end of this if you wanted to see it. This is a nice entry point for a lot of you that basically don't even watch sports and would like to know, hey, what's a good entry point if I wanted to start watching some basketball? The NBA playoffs this year, it would be great. Some of these players, some of these plays, just amazing to follow. I can't see anyone that doesn't see that clip that can't just be amazed by it. Occasionally there might be something like a long three, gives you oohs and ahs and whatnot. But that was just a thing of beauty. What wasn't a thing of beauty was the fact that the Bucks coach is fucking stupid. If I were a Milwaukee Bucks fan, I would want that motherfucker fired right now. Because they had, at the end of the game, a timeout. They had half a second left on the clock, and you might be saying, okay, half a second, what can you do in half a second? Well, you can get lucky, maybe an inbounds pass, something like Jimmy Butler did, and you can, just get your hands on for a second and quickly release it. You can get a shot off, you can get something, maybe like a one-handed, you could maybe do something, possibly, and you might get lucky. But you had a timeout. So what happens is you get a timeout, you advance the ball to half court. Then you could possibly have a lob pass to the rim. But they did not do that. There's no reason on earth for them not to call a timeout in that situation. Because what happens is they just start dribbling the ball up court and then the game conceded. So it's basically they just conceded that they're going into overtime. But again, 0.5 seconds, maybe they figured nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. Because, hell, if I were a coach of that team, I'd be drained too if I just saw, that happen with Jimmy Butler. Like, oh, what the fuck? Come on, like a 1 in a million shot. What the fuck? What's going on here? I'll say 1 in a million, but, maybe 1 in 100. Like a 1% chance that actually goes down the way that goes down. Like I said, everything had to just be perfect in that instance. But they go into overtime. And I think in overtime, I don't have all the stats here, but there's only 3 made field goals or something. I'm not sure. Even worse than that by the Bucks. And you get about to the end of that. Now, at this point, Kevin Love and Kyle Lowry and Bam Adebayo had all fouled out. So the Bucks were chipping away at a lead in overtime. And it gets to the point to where I think it might be 2 seconds left. There's a jump ball situation I left out. I can't remember if it was at the end of overtime or the end of regulation, to where Giannis, who was again 10 and 23 at the foul line, wanted nothing to do with that ball. The ball was tapped to him, and it was hilarious. Again, something to look up. He just gets rid of the ball. He throws it away. It's like a fucking hot potato because he didn't want to be fouled and start clanking those free throws. He didn't want to be. I promise you, this is stupid. This is the J.R. Smith moment. So they have 9 seconds. They're coming down to make a shot. I think they're down by maybe 2. Also, by the way, I can't remember when, but Holiday actually had a missed free throw. I won't get into that. It comes down, I think Giannis tries, and then he gives it up to Middleton, and then Middleton gives it up to Grayson Allen, and Grayson Allen comes down with the ball with a couple seconds left. He's going towards the hoop, and he forgets that there's this thing called a clock, a game clock. You have a set amount of seconds left to actually get off a shot. And just like J.R. Smith, the dumb motherfucker just goes to the hoop and time expires. He just has to get right to the hoop. I guess he is not confident that he can get a score, a shot off, maybe a floater, a somewhat easy floater. It didn't look like there was a lot of people really on him, so it was Grayson Allen. I guess they were covering Middleton and Giannis and whatnot, so he had a line drive to the basket. He could have done a bank shot floater. If I was in that situation, not saying I could make the shot, but, hell, I would be smart enough to actually look up and know that I have, a second left. I got to get the shot off. He does not get the shot off. And in that instant also, this is why you should fire the coach. They had a timeout, and they did not use a timeout to set up that play. God, it's like they just gifted the fucking game to the Heat. But, I mean, it was, the Heat and Jimmy Butler played hard, but part of this win, actually, I can't give all the credit to Jimmy Butler and the Heat. A lot of the credit for this win goes to Budenhauser, whatever his name is, being a terrible coach, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sorry, I should know your Antetokounmpo, whatever the fuck, being one terrible free throw shooter. But yeah, just an amazingly interesting, wild night in the NBA playoffs. And like I said, for a lot of you that don't follow the NBA, this more than ever, this is an interesting time to follow. Hell, we might get a series pretty soon between the Lakers and the Warriors. It might be Steph versus LeBron again. So yeah, you definitely probably want to, if you got some time, tune into some of these NBA games going on right now.